Right, so Veku, very, very nicely, sent us something. This is Veku, who did the orchestration for the Broad Street score.
Broad Street score,
He asked whether we drink tea recording swak. And I said, yeah, we occasionally
Sometimes
have a brew.
Have a cuppa.
So he's given us these placemats to have.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Cups of tea
they're
on.
Gorgeous.
These nice kind of like, I guess they're kind of wood with a kind of sort of veneer thing, but mine's got a picture of an elk, a very lovely hand-drawn picture of an elk on it.
It says, made in Finland, which is fair enough. Hand wash only.
Hand wash only.
What else are you going to wash?
I mean, you could
a coaster in.
You could stick it in the dishwasher.
Why would you wash a coaster? You just give it a wipe.
Give it a wipe.
Yeah.
Hand wash only.
Maybe it means don't use a cloth. Just like wet your fingers and like.
Just use your hands. You've both got elks. I've got a fox.
Is Mike got an elk or a moose?
I've got some sort of.
That looks like an elk to me. I don't know what the difference is between an elk and a moose.
I don't know what is it. There's an elk.
I would say
a moose,
that's
caribou.
an elk and that's a moose. Yours looks more moose-like.
Where do deers and caribous come in?
Caribous are also like elks and mooses. Mises.
I knew you were going to go that. So Veku gave us that. He also gave us these Ligiona. I have no idea how you pronounce that in Finnish, but it looks like Ligiona. Turva sweets, which we had during the recording of Incredulous at the QD, what happened recently.
Oh, okay.
And these are sweets that are not just tar-flavoured, but made of tar.
I don't trust Veku's taste in sweets.
No, he thinks they're fucking horrible.
He sent us revolting sweets last year.
This is our ongoing effort to eat things on air and comment upon them.
Have they been in your pocket? Because they're like emanating warmth.
No, they've been in the little thing.
It smells revolting.
Well, it smells of tar.
It smells smoky, but I wouldn't say it smells of tar.
It's got a kind of cigarette thing going on, hasn't it?
It's got like a cigarette / road kind of smell.
It sort of looks like someone chopped the tip off a cigarette.
It looks like someone squashed a rabbit shit.
It looks a bit like a squash rabbit shit, or it looks like the nib of a pool cue.
I quite like how this is essentially, as best I could tell, a piece of tar, but they've sugar-coated it, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not putting this in my mouth.
You are.
You're not.
You absolutely
are.
Oh.
It's revolting. It just kicks in after a while.
Yeah, it takes a while to kick in, but it tastes
like
of tar.
It's like smoke. It just tastes of smoke.
So immediately after the recording of Incredulous, I'm at QED, obviously. Were you at QED, Marsh?
I was at QED. I was actually there.
Were you? Were you there on the Sunday night as well?
Whole time, yeah.
Sunday night, okay. So I'm standing on the balcony at the AV desk with Andy Wilson, and Andy casually pulls a box of these things out of his pocket and tries to offer them to me like, "Oh, do you want a sweet?" Really casually. And I was like, "I know what they are." And he was like, "Oh, do you? Shit." And he was gutted. He thought he was going to get me with the terrible tar sweets.
I brought some sweets from Australia.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, might as well do this now before we even start the show.
Oh, you brought Tim
Tams. I had to
Tim
bring.
Tams.
Couldn't not bring Tim Tams. You finish your tea, so you can't do the tea thing with the Tim Tams.
Oh, I can.
I am totally fine with that.
I'm well up for a Tim Tam slam.
One of the organisers of Skepticon, Luke, made me try a Tim Tam slam while I'm sat at the table with a lot of other people sat around this table. And I'd never tried a Tim Tam before. Bit one end and immediately pulled a face because they're so incredibly sweet.
They are.
And I don't like very sweet things. And everybody then ridiculed me for this face that I pulled trying the Tim Tam. And then I had to bite the other end off to do the fucking tea thing.
Tim Tam slam. I'm quite happy. I've just done my first Tim Tam slam live on air.
What's interesting about it is that the texture changes completely in a split second.
Really?
Like in a split second.
I mean, have a go.
Try it. Bite off each end of the Tim Tam. You can use my tea.
I don't like the...
But you've got to put it all in your mouth as quick as you can because it just disintegrates.
Okay, so you take a little nibble.
You bite both ends or just the corners if you like, right? And then suck the tea through it and slam. There you go. You slammed that Tim Tam.
But the texture changes entirely in a split second. It's incredible. Marsh looks very unhappy.
That Tim Tam's made of fucking quicksand.
It's amazing.
It's like Morecambe Bay all over again.
I also brought some Lifesavers that are musk flavoured.
What is it with the Australians and musk flavoured shit? Stuff made of fucking perfume.
It's like a polo crossed with a Parma Violet.
It's a perfume flavoured and scented polo.
Oh my God, they smell really strongly of perfume.
Why are these edible?
They're not.
I don't think they are.
I'm not convinced they are. It tastes like my dad's wardrobe.
The only good thing about it is that there's a hole in the middle, so there's less of it.
But it's thicker than your average polo.
Yeah, it's way too thick. It's way too thick.
And then I brought some kangaroo health sticks.
We're not going to eat the kangaroo, are we?
Why not?
I mean, I brought it to be tried.
Okay, right, I'll have one of these.
This is a kangaroo health stick.
Which is
a natural, healthy snack for energy and vitality.
Let's not have one each. Let's just have a bit of it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to pass one.
Oh, it smells like dog food.
Oh, I don't think it smells that bad.
It's got kangaroo meat, sugar, salt, herbs and spices, and vinegar in it.
I ate it and thought, oh, that's not so bad. Oh, yes, it is.
I'm not sure I wanted. I bought these knowing that I was going to have to try them too.
I mean, you're a fool to yourself, Alice.
It's not too bad, actually.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and then it gets worse as you go on.
It does get worse. It's the spices, isn't it? The spices come through.
This is really bad.
It's terrible.
I'm not having any more.
Don't eat kangaroo. It is Thursday, the 1st of November 2018, and you're listening to Skeptics with a K, the podcast for science, reason and critical thinking. Skeptics with a K is a production of the Merseyside Skeptic Society, a non-profit organisation for the tasting of foreign goods. I am your host, Mike Hall. With me today is Marsh.
Hello.
And Alice.
Hello.
So, first off, Alice, how was Australia?
It was amazing. It was really good. It rained every single day I was there.
Did it really? Oh, no.
But we had one day of sunshine. That luckily fell on a day that I wasn't in Skepticon in a convention centre all day, so that was good.
Yes.
But it rained every day otherwise.
Yeah, you've been to Australia now?
The convention was really, really good. I really enjoyed Skepticon. It was very weird being awake when you guys were asleep.
Yes.
And asleep when you guys were awake.
It's weird that it.
But also managing QED's Instagram.
Oh yeah, no, you did do that, which was also funny.
So I'm literally living your day through social media and living my day in real life. Very weird. We did do a little Skype link.
Yes,
we did.
Which I saw you briefly on from afar.
Yeah.
There's Alice on a screen. I see over there. Yeah, but I was busy running around, unfortunately, so I didn't get to come over and say hello.
Well, I was on the Skype link at our end for a bit, talking to Richard, and then Richard was trying to find you and couldn't, so I was saying hello to other people, and then I kind of wandered away while he was trying to find you, and then he found you. He was like, "Come back, we got Alice." So I ran back up and said hello.
It was quite bizarre because Richard Saunders set up the Skype link, and he's like
Pontus at our end. It was Pontus.
And Pontus at your end, and they kind of had it going, and then I said it was in the morning for you guys, so you were all at the registration desk. So I was stood on it, and then I saw Nicola sprint across, sorting something, and just wave at me with two arms really excitedly, and then run off again. And then I got bored of the conversation and wanted, because it's Skype conversation between two conventions. There's only so much you can talk about.
Yeah, it was also hot. There was too much of a delay as well.
There was quite a delay.
Hello, hi. Okay, good. But no, it was still fun. It was nice.
So I wandered off, left them chatting to other people, and then suddenly loads of people come running. Alice, Marsh is on, come back. It's really weird.
Like you've never talked to Marsh before.
No, like I hadn't talked to you like a couple of days before and throughout the weekend on WhatsApp. Yeah. I did. We talked about doing that ages ago. In the end, it was like Richard and Pontus who put it together.
We set it up,
we were sort of like exploring the idea of doing it, and I liked the idea of just having like an iPad set up on Skype, but having it on the ground with like some ripped up carpet around it so that it just looked like it was a hole in the ground. So you can just look straight down and see Australia sort of on the other side. Practically not very useful, but for a comedy value, either that or have it like in a tube. So you put your head in the tube and look down and you could see at the bottom of the tube Australia.
So Australia was good?
Australia was good. So we had the 2 days of the convention, which was really fun, really enjoyed it. Loads of great speakers. I've got suggestions for future QEDs.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I gather there was a speaker talking about placebo effect, which fully let me off the hook.
Yeah. There was this guy, Dr. Vyom, who was on for like a little half-hour talk, and he was talking about what doctors don't know.
And what they don't know, they don't tell you. No, hang on, It's a separate publication altogether.
So Vyom is both a medical doctor and a magician, because those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah, nice.
And he gave a half-hour talk about what doctors don't know, and talking about how medical understanding changes so quickly that there's a lot of things that we recommend now that won't be recommended in 20 years, and things that we used to recommend that we don't recommend now.
So you've given talk on what doctors don't know. There's the magazine What Doctors Don't Tell You. I want there to be a magazine What Doctor No Doesn't Tell You. It's like, I'm going to try and take over the world, and I'm going to try and kill secret agents. Oh no, I've said it now. Yeah.
So he started talking about like medical history and how medicine works and stuff, and then he just throws up a word placebo on the thing, and I'm literally sitting on my hands like, what's he going to say?
Was there an audible gasp in the room?
Oh yeah, because he could have been on to go on and fully Goldacre it and be like, placebo's fucking brilliant, isn't it?
Use Goldacre as a verb. It is just about bullshit about the placebo effect, Mike.
And that's what I expected, because that is the general consensus, even though we know from the literature that that's not correct. But no, he was fully on board with your argument against the placebo, that it is just a collection of biases, and that we oversubscribe almost agency to this thing that actually is just a way of describing human bias.
Yeah.
So that was good. He mentioned one of my favourite papers, the Anadis paper, about how no research is reproducible. Like, this is where we get the stat that like over three-quarters, I can't remember the stat exactly, but it's at least like over 50% of papers aren't reproducible. It might be close to three-quarters. So he talked about that. Like, he crammed a lot into a 30-minute talk. He managed to get somebody up on stage to do a magic trick, like
really? Nice.
relating to placebo. He gave this audience member Skittles to make them be able to solve a Rubik's Cube behind their back. It was great. It was a really good talk. So, and you've now got a medical doctor who agrees with you.
Yeah, that's one.
I mean, you have a medical doctor who agrees with you, who's given talks about it. You have other medical doctors who agree with you because they email you to say, what do you think about this, Mike? It looks really interesting. It looks like placebo's bollocks.
Yeah, but, you know...
You have actual people email us regularly.
They shouldn't be deferring to my opinion on anything.
They're not. They're deferring to your analysis of papers where you explain how you analysed it and give the reference that they can go and check that you were right.
I'm almost at the point of eating this kangaroo again because I'm so indignant at this conversation.
Also, I would say you think they shouldn't be deferring to your opinion on it, but you're not a fucking expert. You don't get to say who should and shouldn't defer to your opinion. They're the experts. If they defer to your opinion, you've got to defer to that because they're the experts. They know what they're talking about. If what they say is you're right, you've got to believe them on that.
Circular but fair.
So after Vyom's talk, I ran up to him excitedly and was like, I've got to tell you about my friend Mike. Possibly slightly overwhelmed him a little bit because he'd just come off stage, but that was fun.
Well, and we've been emailing back and forth as well since then.
Yeah,
so
I've done an email introduction,
good,
and yeah.
I have not responded to that yet.
No.
My emails are out of control.
He said that he's going to listen to the show, to listen to my placebo bits and let me know what he thinks.
Oh God, he's going to put out a podcast debunking you, debunking football. Yeah, it's just going to be debunks all the way down.
So that was good. The rest of the convention was good. Australian Skeptics did a really good job of organising it.
Did you write an end for your talk?
Well, what I basically realised over the last few months is that I always had an ending for my talk. I just didn't deliver it very well. So I just practiced delivering it.
You just needed some...
But I did have a lot of lovely people who came to talk to me, either before my talk, just as listeners who recognised me, or people who came after my talk who were listeners and were like, oh, so you did write an ending. Lots of people waiting with bated breath as to how I was going to end this thing.
And you met lots of listeners when you were...
Met loads of listeners. And in fact, after the conference, went out with a few listeners at different times. So a guy called Gideon, who listens to the show, it was his first Skeptical event that he'd been to.
Oh, nice.
Does a lot of writing, actually, does a lot of good writing on skeptical topics. But he came and said hello, and then he took us out for dinner, showed us around Darling Harbour, showed us around bits of Sydney, which was nice. We also met Jessica, who I've interacted with before because she likes pretty nail varnish and sparkly things like I do. It's great. So she showed us around a few different places. We went for the day to see some Australian animals, some kangaroos, koalas.
Is that that was at the park I went to a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Around
Featherdale. Featherdale. Whatever, sanctuary park thing. That was good. You feel like little wallabies from your hand.
I saw on your Instagram as well, you went to Manly Beach.
Went to Manly Beach.
Which is very funny.
I think I wore out like all of my good faith from Warren on that island. Because you'd see things like Manly skiing shops. Like, why do they have skiing for ladies?
Yeah.
I went at the time. I went on the Manly Walk. There was a sign for like Manly Walk. I'm gonna have a Manly Walk, and then it was like Manly penguins. Yeah.
You didn't get to see any penguins, which was a shame.
No,
but
we didn't see
when we
penguins,
went to Manly Island, that was the day we had this glorious sunshine. So we got the ferry across, saw the sky, like the Opera House, the bridge, like the full skyline of Sydney, and then had a day on the beach in the sunshine. It wasn't really very warm, but I insisted on paddling in the sea anyway.
Well, it's manly, isn't it?
I also went shopping for a day with Jessica and managed to get completely lost. Like,
okay,
I had to walk in a straight line 10 minutes from one place to another place. In the one place I was on, Warren had bought a SIM card so that we could connect to data, so I could connect to the internet. So I was tethering to his internet, and when I met up with Jessica, I was going to tether to her internet. It was a straight line, 10 minutes.
You lost it.
It took me about an hour.
That is ludicrous.
It took me about an hour to get to the place I was supposed to get to, and then it took me another half an hour to find Jessica because I couldn't get onto any Wi-Fi.
Why? How did you get lost in a 10-minute straight walk? I
walked through a park, Hyde Park, in fact. I walked through Hyde Park,
right,
which they'd fenced bits of it off. I don't know if they had an event or something that was going to be on, and they fenced bits off. And I'd walked through this park a few times, so I knew I was walking a straight line down this pathway, but then they blocked that pathway off. I wasn't allowed to walk down it, so I went a different route and just completely lost my bearings.
Just completely lost it. Right.
And then I found a map and looked at the map and saw, I'm seeing streets. I recognise that I'm supposed to be near those streets. But these streets, like, they're all massive blocks, so the streets are really, really long, and they intersect with the same streets at multiple different points.
Oh, good Lord.
So I'm just wandering in a circle going, well, this is about right, because it's the right streets, but actually it's completely miles away from where I need to be.
If you're on data and you look at your Google map on your phone, it caches the map. So the second you go off data, if you've still got your GPS on, you can still wander around, and your little blue dot will still move around the map.
No, I knew where I was on the map. Well, no, I didn't know where I was on the map for a while.
You could just have your phone out, and you are a blue dot on your map as it walks around.
My phone decided to reload it after I came off data.
Because that's how I got around Australia the first time, is that I just make it to little pockets of Wi-Fi, cache the local map, and go right, I think I'm going over there now, and I think I can go to about there and get Wi-Fi at that McDonald's.
The problem is I also have very little directional common sense.
Yeah, that's also a problem.
I'm not very good at finding myself my way around places anyway. But eventually I figured it out. The problem was we'd arranged to meet in this train station that was underground, that was like this weird circle. So Jessica had apparently just been walking around in a circle hoping to bump into me, and eventually she'd given up and gone somewhere else. I'd walked around in a circle for a while and then realised that was going nowhere. Tried to find a cafe where I could find Wi-Fi. Couldn't find a cafe where I could find Wi-Fi. Ended up having, sitting on a wall, sent her a text, like an old-fashioned SMS text message.
An old-fashioned SMS, okay.
Saying, I'm sat on a wall looking at a KFC on this street, come and find me. And then I spotted there was a McDonald's down the road, so I sent that and then was like, oh shit, now I'm going to go to the McDonald's and connect to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Got down to the McDonald's, connected to the Wi-Fi. Had tried to text her saying, I'm going to go to the McDonald's by where the Wi-Fi will be. That didn't go through. I get there, finally connect to actually Starbucks was Wi-Fi, but connect to Wi-Fi, and a barrage of messages between Warren and Jessica comes through. I've lost her. Where's she gone? Panicking about where I am. That all came through, and then I'd seen Jessica said, "Oh, she said she's here. I'm gonna run and be there now." And I was like, "I'm not there anymore. I'm gone."
This was a shambles, Alex.
Yeah.
What on earth were you doing?
A, it's a good job that you were travelling with Warren.
Yeah.
And B, it's a good job that you had someone like Jessica who was there to look after you. Because you are crap.
Yeah.
You are basically crap unless being directly instructed where to go by someone and just pointed in a direction.
Well, I was pointed in a direction. I still fucked it up.
What you need is when in cartoons when they get donkeys to move by hanging like a carrot off a stick in front of you. You just need that at all times.
I don't know how I got. It was impressive how lost I got. I don't know how I got that lost. That should not have happened. It's quite embarrassing.
Well, at least you've shared that with all of our listeners now. So the embarrassment is, if nothing else, it's amplified.
What else did I do? We went out for drinks as well with Alethea, one of the co-organisers of, in fact, the president of Australian Skeptics Convention.
Yeah, fantastic.
Ran the convention, runs the group.
Mm-hmm.
She's really lovely. Went out with her and her husband. For Nepalese food, which you can't get easily in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Love Nepalese food. It was good. Enjoyed it.
On the way back, you stopped off at Singapore.
On the way back, we stopped off at Singapore. Warren had booked. Warren was a genius and booked our flights amazingly. I suffered very little with jet lag because of how he booked the flights and the timings. We flew with Singapore Airline, who are a dream to fly with. And then he planned in a 9-hour stop in Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
And Singapore Airlines, together with the Singapore government and the airport, Changi Airport, organised these free excursions out into Singapore.
Okay.
So we jumped on one of those. We managed to book on. We were like one of the last few people to book onto that nighttime tour. And we did a nighttime tour of Singapore, which, if you're going to see Singapore, nighttime's an amazing time to see it. So beautiful. Such a beautiful city. Terrible for the environment because there's so many lights on all the time. They have a garden that's perpetually spring, perpetually 23 degrees Celsius. We were there in their spring, I guess.
Okay.
And it was 40 degrees.
Good Lord.
In the day and 30 degrees at night. And they're using energy to retain this garden at 23 degrees Celsius. It's not.
Okay.
Not ideal. But it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
But that sounds fun.
Wait, I forgot to give you the presents I got you. Hang on.
Oh, we got presents.
You already gave me a present. Oh, I see.
It's a little koala.
Oh, that's good. Oh,
they're really, really shit key rings.
Oh, does it have chlamydia?
It's got clippy arms. I gave you the red one because it matches your tie.
Yeah.
And it's got clippy. You can actually clip it to your tie if you want to.
Oh, I see. It has got sort of clippy arms. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
So we did QED, Mike.
We did a QED.
It was lovely. I think this might have been one of the best QEDs we did.
I saw a lot of people saying that on the social medias that I was following.
On the various social medias.
And not just because I was doing the Instagram, it was very much I need to see what I'm missing. And a lot of people said it felt like QED to the next level.
Well, I think more than any other, and I don't know what it particularly was, it seemed like everybody there was in the right spirit for QED.
Yeah.
So it just had a very lovely collaborative community kind of feel, I think. And I think I was probably boring the hell out of people by saying that across the weekend. But it really did feel that way. Like everybody there was just kind of there to have a nice time, to make sure that people had a nice time, to sort of get on with people and to have just a lovely event.
Have
really.
you made a cult?
We might have made a cult.
Little accidental cult. It happened, so
we've accidentally converted skepticism into a movement based on compassion rather than arrogance. I don't know how that happened, but we've accidentally embedded emotions and feeling into the logical robots that are naturally skeptics. So yeah.
But it was a very good, very enjoyable QED. I had a great time. The feedback from attendees has been excellent. Some of the feedback from attendees has been terrible. Like, make the panel room bigger. We'll pop in for the planning permission now, shall we?
There's
2 years till the next QED. They can build you a new hotel in Manchester.
That is true.
You need a bigger hotel.
That's exactly what we need at this point.
We had 3 or 4 people on the feedback survey going, make the panel room bigger. With what? Dimensional engineering? How am I meant to do that?
But the VR thing was really fun as well.
The VR thing worked really well.
I quite liked watching videos of people doing VR.
I did all right. I thought I made it to the end of the plank. That wasn't really too much of a problem.
Did you get down to the end of the plank?
I got right to the very end. It was like a shuffling effect rather than walking. But that's because you had an actual physical plank on the floor that I don't know I could have easily walked along even if I was looking at the actual plank, because it was a bit wobbly on the floor. But no, that was quite I
liked watching our friend Kat Ford, who's been on the show before, a video of her doing the VR because she stepped onto the plank and then she ran off the plank and then she stepped onto it again.
Nicola got to the edge of the plank, put her foot on it, and then stepped back and went, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. And I had to take her thing off.
But I thought one of the reasons why I asked them specifically to bring the plank game and the plank itself was because I think there's an interesting skeptical angle in that. Because you know rationally in your head that you're in a hotel room in Manchester.
Yeah.
You know that. There's no question about that. And you're still standing on a plank, panicking, thinking you're going to fall.
Yeah.
And stepping gingerly along and going, I don't want to fall. It's going to be... You know you're in a hotel room in Manchester, but your brain is still responding to it like you're in genuine danger. And I thought that's a fascinating effect.
Yeah, I think you're right. Although what I found when I was doing it was I didn't feel immersed in it at all. I could sense the stuff around me. You know, I could see stuff and got the whole depth perception thing and could see what the effect was. But I never managed to switch off the part of my brain that was like, you're in a hotel room in Manchester. This isn't real. The floor's just there. You're absolutely fine. But I could feel that part of my brain working overtime. That it was really, and it wasn't something I was in conscious control of.
Yeah.
But yes, I thought that was quite interesting. Just feeling that sort of.
You needed
that
some
difference.
extra D's. Just some wind.
I needed more D's, a bit of wind. Yeah, someone to slap the back of my ankles a little bit.
Whippy tails.
But I also think part of that is some people can get so immersed in a film that they lose track of everything that's around them. They lose track of the fact that they're watching a film. They just feel whatever's happening in the film. And I can't do that either. I find myself going, oh, that's quite an interesting little detail of the shot choice. Or
you're really annoying to watch a film with.
Well, because I don't.
Like, I noticed they did this with how they designed the shot.
But that's interesting, I think.
It is interesting, but it's also really annoying.
So, yeah, I think that's it, is that I think there is a score for, like, immersion, I think it is.
Yeah.
Like, as a personality trait, your ability to get immersed in the moment of stuff. And I always find it hard to get immersed in it. So I imagine that's probably also a play with the VR stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but the VR stuff, I thought it was very popular with attendees. It was fully booked up by mid-Saturday morning, which was cool. I mean, it was cool for the people who couldn't get in to see it, but we only had so many rigs and so much time, so that was always going to be a limiting factor. And QED overall, I think was very successful. And as I say, the feedback from attendees has been really good, and that's really what matters at the end of the day is when people are saying, yes, I had a great time, I came along. So
I had a very lovely weekend. It was a little strange how much I found myself doing or being involved in stuff which was not initially planned.
Yes.
But I kept being like, if there was times that I was on stage and I was doing stuff, there was times I wasn't meant to be on stage, but then I was suddenly on stage.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do this as well then. And I think there were other times where I got my name came up on something when I wasn't on it, and I was like, it's a bit me heavy. This is a bit weird.
Also, it's a cult.
You ended up on Skeptics Guide as well, didn't you?
Yeah, that was a surprise.
You ended up guest starring on Skeptics Guide, which was interesting. Doing their name the pseudoscience game.
Yes, which I was terrible at. I was roundly awful at.
Yeah.
Redeemed myself on their science fiction, which were very they're all English or British rather science fiction.
I thought you were very good on the Ice Mountains of Europa story as well. I thought that was you.
I did a lot of nodding. Oh. This is a space story. That's interesting. Space is the one thing that was relatively nice about being there for the space story stuff is it's nice to hang around with people who believe in space, because I spend a lot of time talking to people who don't. So I was like, all I've got to add here is I know people who don't think space is real. Yeah, but that was fun.
So one thing that did happen at QED is I woke up on Sunday morning to a message on the QED Slack back channel, so that the channel that we got between the organisers, from Nicola going, Heather Ellis has gone home. And I was like, shit. So Heather Ellis was meant to be speaking about 19th century science and the rise of the British scientific societies and the effect that they had on research ethics. And
that sounds like a really cool talk.
I think it's a really interesting talk. And we knew that there was a possibility that she might not be able to make it for personal reasons that I don't want to go into. But she eventually she turned up to QED, and then the reason turned out to be a big reason, and she had to disappear. And suddenly we were a main stage slot empty on the Sunday afternoon, and we're like, shit, what do we do? Shit.
Yeah.
Shit. And eventually we came up with the idea of putting Paul Duncan McGarrity, who was...
say eventually, it was pretty quick that we came to the conclusion that would be a good thing to do.
It was after I'd finished saying shit repeatedly that we thought, we'll ask Paul Duncan McGarity.
Yes.
So Paul was there doing a workshop for us, and we thought we'll just translate that show that he was doing, because it was a little generous of us to call that a workshop.
Yes, yeah.
It was a practical guide to attacking castles, and I thought practical counts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But
it was more an excuse to invite Paul Duncan McGarity because we knew that people would love the show.
And so we popped him onto the main stage instead, and he was fucking brilliant.
He was absolutely amazing.
I saw so many people on social media talking about how amazing he was, how they wouldn't have got to see him if it was the workshop, and that they were so glad to have him on the main stage.
He was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. And so as I'm, before Paul goes on stage, and he did the whole show in a full suit of armor, so he's standing on. Was
he in the full suit of armor? Not the. I thought he was doing the chainmail.
He did the chainmail. It was. So he had the kind of padding on, and the chainmail, and the helmet, and he's on the balcony, and I walked up to him on the balcony. It was like, "Is everything okay? Are you all right?" And he kind of looked at me and said, "Fuck off," basically. His eyes said "fuck off." His mouth said, "I'm just running through the show in my head." But his eyes said "fuck off, Mike." And I said, "All right, Paul, that's fine. That's okay, no problem." And he went on stage and he completely nailed it, and it was brilliant, and he got the laughs in all the right places, and the audience loved it. The audience was rolling in the R's with it. It was really, really good. I did see him slip up on stage though, as he's on stage and he's clicking through his slides, and he clicks through a slide and then clicks through another slide immediately. Then went, just realised I've forgotten the joke. Never mind, and he carries on with the show, and then he goes, "Actually, I reference that joke again later in the show, so I'm sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going back." And he jumps back at this, goes, "Slick, Paul, slick." Not like it's the biggest dream we've ever played or anything. But Paul was brilliant, so I really want to thank, because I know Paul listens to this show, so I really want to thank Paul for stepping in at the last second there, because he could have said, "Whoa, no way, I didn't fucking sign up for that," and left us in a pickle. But I wanted to specifically thank Paul for stepping in at the last second there, for coming in and helping out with that.
And thank you to everyone who gave me a very lovely and moving round of applause when I got the Occam Award as well Saturday night, which was very, very lovely.
You won the Skeptical Activist of the Year award, which
lovely.
We weren't even nominated for. But
we weren't even nominated.
Well,
you guys weren't.
This show...
I think I was nominated for like a cluster of things, really.
This show was not nominated.
You can have a small amount of the reflected glory if you like. And by reflected glory, I mean the award does light up. So if I get a complex series of mirrors, you can have a little bit of reflection.
I fully reject your pity glory.
So on the 9th of October, so earlier this month, the BBC decided it'd be a good idea to interview Gwyneth Paltrow ahead of the opening of Goop's UK pop-up shop.
Yeah, they've done a UK store, haven't they?
Yeah, in
Goop.
Notting Hill. Yeah. And the interview talked about lots of different things. It talked about the Me Too movement in Hollywood and various different things as well. But it also talked specifically about the criticisms that Goop has received for the products that they sell and the claims that they make. And in that interview, Gwyneth Paltrow staunchly denied any claims that what they sell amounts to pseudoscience. She said, "We really believe there are healing modalities that have existed for thousands of years, and they challenge maybe a conventional Western doctor that might not necessarily believe in the healing powers of essential oils or any variety of acupuncture. These things have been tried and tested for hundreds of years, and we find that they're very helpful to people, and there's an incredible power in the human body to heal itself." So she was completely rejecting the many criticisms she's had from skeptics about the pseudoscience that she peddles there. And people, when they saw this story, were a bit annoyed. This was on BBC Breakfast. They were a bit annoyed that the interviewer, Charlie, I forget the chap's name, but Charlie from BBC Breakfast, didn't push her harder on this. And there were people saying this is basically a free advert for Goop on BBC Breakfast. And in fact, there was a story later that day in the Daily Mail, which went with the headline, "BBC is slammed for giving Gwyneth Paltrow a free advert for Goop and allowing her to promote her mumbo jumbo on the BBC." And in that, the Daily Mail article, it said that when asked on BBC Breakfast about the pseudoscience criticism, Ms. Paltrow said, "We disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think that any time you're trying to move the needle and you're trying to empower women, you find resistance. And that's just part of what we do, and we're proud to do it. We're proud to be trailblazing."
fully saw Alice roll her eyes there at the line about we're trying to empower women.
Yeah, so that was something that annoyed me.
Yeah, it feels very deliberate.
Yeah, so what seemed pretty clear here is that the criticisms that Gwyneth Paltrow has had from doctors and scientists and skeptics and people all around the world, she's not taken those criticisms as to be anything about the direct claims that she's making or that Goop are making or the products that they sell or the way that they're marketing themselves to consumers. She's essentially writing that all off as effectively patronising misogyny and a way of keeping women down, which I think is personally, I think it's a deeply unfair way of categorising that. I know that someone like Dr. Jen Gunter has been very vociferous in her criticism of some of Gwyneth Paltrow's claims, and I think Jen Gunter would disagree that what she is doing is trying to stop the empowerment of women. But the Daily Mail was criticising the BBC and said that they'd give this free advert. Why weren't they more challenging? But while the Daily Mail were criticising that, and people like Edzard Ernst was quoted in the Daily Mail saying that the BBC shouldn't be doing this, and Les Rose was too, and a few other people too. We, good thinking, looked at whether it was actually worth, we're always keen to identify opportunities to highlight when the BBC have been ineffective in challenging claims in order to help them understand what's kind of the best way to challenge these things. But looking at it, we thought there wasn't a lot of chance of success because the interviewer did do what the BBC would consider to be enough to challenge some of those claims. So we didn't think a complaint was the way to go. But when Gwyneth Paltrow was talking about empowering women, well, my colleague Laura took that message to heart and feeling very empowered, she looked at the Goop website to see just how trailblazing the website is and just how many misleading claims that we can actually find and then complain to the advertising standards about. And in fact, that's exactly what we did. Laura's put together an extensive list of the misleading claims that Goop are making. And on the 28th of October, we actually published that in the Sunday Times. So we had a story in the Sunday Times with the headline, Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop health products dangerous to expecting mothers. And the Times article reads, Gwyneth Paltrow's lifestyle brand Goop has been reported to British regulators over 113 alleged breaches of UK advertising law. Good Thinking Society, a charity that promotes scientific thinking, has accused the Oscar-winning actress of presiding over a company that issues potentially dangerous advice related to unproven health products. And that's exactly true. So it is true that Laura found 113 misleading claims on this. But what's actually worth pointing out is that that's because Laura stopped at 113.
Yeah.
We wanted to see, are there at least 100? Can we find in an afternoon or however long it took Laura to look this through, can we find 100 misleading claims?
So this wasn't exhaustive. This was just...
Not at all. Not at all.
P-hacking, if anything. It was just...
It's not P-hacking.
Let's get across the predefined threshold and stop looking.
If anything, it is underestimating. It is saying, is there more than 100? Yes, there's more than 100. Yeah. Well, then clearly this is endemic.
It's not the same as p-hacking. That's true. It's not like you can find a negative claim that undoes.
No, exactly. Yeah.
The earlier claim.
So we found more than 100 on there. So and then there were a couple of products in particular that we highlighted as being emblematic of the problematic claims that Goop are making. So one of those was the Mother Load. Okay, I don't know if you've seen the Mother Load before. It costs £88 and it is billed by Goop as a top-of-the-line natal product. So it's marketed towards UK customers, specifically towards women who are pregnant or who are planning to get pregnant, which is a bit of a problem because the product states that it contains 110% of the recommended daily allowance of vitamin A for adults.
Right.
And the reason that's a problem is that the NHS, the World Health Organization, various other bodies who know what they're on about here, they actually warn pregnant women, if you're trying to get pregnant or if you are pregnant, don't take supplements of vitamin A because there's a potential risk to the unborn baby there.
Vitamin A toxicity is a real... It's why you're not supposed to eat polar bear liver.
Polar bear liver?
It's really high in vitamin A.
If you're pregnant or generally?
Vitamin A toxicity is a problem with polar bear liver.
So,
on the other hand, kangaroo jerky is fucking fine, apparently.
Yeah, what's the vitamin A content of the kangaroo sticks?
I don't think it says.
No, I don't imagine it would. So, do you know specifically anything about the unborn baby stuff? You see about vitamin A generally?
Vitamin A toxicity. Vitamin A can be toxic in doses that are relatively easy to reach through eating a lot of fish, taking supplements and things. You'll generally probably be fine if you're an adult, but if you're a developing baby, then the levels needed for it to be toxic to your health is much lower because you're much smaller. So
110% of an adult RDA Obviously, not all of that's going to get across the placental barrier, but
No.
if you're doing that consistently and maybe eating a fish, etc. as well,
exactly. So doctors recommend that you
risk,
just
doesn't it?
minimize your intake of things that are very high in vitamin A.
And that's the thing, is it'd be one thing for this to be a supplement that was given to people generally, and it contained an awful lot of vitamin A. But for this to be a supplement that is directly targeted specifically at women who are pregnant, or people who are trying to get pregnant, the NICE, the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, actually said that Goop's product had more than double their recommended limit of vitamin A. So it's not like your daily allowance, what you're recommended to actually take, which is 110% of, but it's double what they say is the upper limit as to what you should be taking for it to be safe. So that's not a particularly good start for Goop.
For it to be safe for people who are pregnant?
Generally, they say,
Okay.
That's just double NICE's recommended limit of vitamin A intake. It wasn't just vitamin A that was a problem there. So elsewhere on their site, they advertised their sun protection products, which cost £45 each. These alternative sun protection creams and things.
So that's some sort of ad blocker, the sun protection product? Is it something like that?
Yeah, it
replaces the sun with kittens.
live on Merseyside. That's a good sun protection
it's a train ticket
product.
to Liverpool. That's what it is. It's just a train ticket to Liverpool Lime Street. But while they're selling their own versions of sun creams and sun protection, they also had statements that undermined mainstream conventional sun cream products. In fact, the Goop website states, in fact, there is little evidence to support the many claims that sun cream helps prevent cancer.
They're not entirely wrong there.
Go on.
There isn't a great deal of evidence that sunscreen prevents cancer. There's a great deal of evidence that sun damage causes cancer, and there's a great deal of evidence that sunscreen prevents sun damage.
Yes, yeah.
There isn't sufficient evidence that actually says that it directly prevents cancer.
Yeah, but there's enough of a logical connection there
exactly,
to say this is
clearly we know sun damage causes cancer. We know sunscreen blocks sun damage. That's enough.
Yeah. Well, in fact, the British Association of Dermatologists told the Sunday Times that a sunscreen with a high SPF, so the sun protection factor, will help block UVB rays and prevent the skin from burning, and by extension, that it blocks the damage that causes cancer. So they were condemning Goop for saying this. And then you had the Goop medicine bag, which sells for £76, and it's called a medicine bag, and it contains some crystals.
Yeah, I've seen this before. It's just got some rocks in it.
It's got some rocks in it for £76. So it's got carnelian. Do you remember what the carnelian rock did? According to Goop's website, it's a brownish red mineral that, quote, helps treat infertility. The site also says that the crystals have to be charged by placing them in the light of a full moon. And then we've seen all the other stuff on there as well. But we've seen the full moon stuff before. But the thing about having a crystal that treats infertility, I mean, I don't know where you're putting the crystal or what you're meant to be doing with it. But nevertheless, there is no way that a crystal is going to change your fertility status in the slightest. And all this can do is lead people to spend £76 for something that is going to help them, and to invest their hope that this is an intervention that is going to lead you to be more fertile.
Yeah.
And it can't possibly do that. That hope is only going to be misplaced hope at best. So the Goop actually did speak to the Times about this eventually, and they said about the carnelian crystal, they added an asterisk to the information that stated that while an earlier version of the product said it had benefits that could help treat infertility, in fact they were just the opinion of fans of the product. So when it says this can help treat infertility, it's like people have told us they like this product because they think it treats infertility, which does not get around you making a claim. That does not exempt you from the
also, they know that they just make so many claims that if they bend, every time one of those claims is picked up, they say, okay, well, we've corrected it now. There's still over
more than 100.
Yeah.
Way more than 100. There were other claims that we picked up. So Laura picked up that the Goop oil pulling kit was apparently dentist recommended. That's not true. And dentists do not recommend that you oil pull to do anything for your teeth. The Goop website claimed that their psychic vampire repellent protection mist, which I think we've talked about in the show before, the psychic vampire spray, but they said it could protect from psychic attack and emotional harm and could clear toxic energy.
Okay.
You can't say that unless you've got evidence that any of those things are true. They said that curcumin. I always went soft C on that.
It's the compound inside turmeric.
Okay. So they said that curcumin has more health benefits than a whole medicine chest. which is only true if you're talking about just the chest and none of the contents.
Or their medical bag.
Oh yeah, of our medical bag. It's got,
it probably does have more like medical activity than their medical bag.
Yes, and then a medical chest. If you've got a medical chest with no medicine in it, you've just got the box
just the chest
itself. So unless the chest is so big that you could hide in it from the sun, in which case it would become an effective sun protection. But that's as effective as it gets. They said that the powder of the ashwagandha root is an excellent tonic for immune health, sexual vitality, and harmonized mood. And they also said that the personal care industry is effectively unregulated, that the last piece of regulation, which was a single page long, was passed in 1938, which means that companies are essentially free to do whatever they want with no government oversight, packing products that we use every day, like mascara, face wash and shampoo, with toxic ingredients and known carcinogens and endocrine disruptors.
That's that's part of the fucking problem. They are unregulated. Goop is unregulated in making these claims that they make repeatedly. Well, they're regulated in some ways, but
their claims ought to be regulated, and that's exactly what we're doing by reporting this to the advertising standards and to the trading standards as well. Now, advertising standards actually got back to us very quickly and said that Goop's website was outside of their remit because it's an American website. But that's something we're challenging because, for one, it's selling products to the UK. For two, it's selling them in pounds and not dollars. And for three, they've got a UK store. They've got a UK store and a UK registered address. So they've got an address registered in Worcestershire. Yeah. So it's not enough to say that, well, we've registered this abroad, but we are making these dodgy claims to UK consumers on products that are being shipped to you from the UK.
It might have been an argument they could have made 6 months ago before they opened a UK store.
Maybe.
But I certainly don't think it holds water now. And
I don't even know how... I honestly don't know whether they could make it 6 months ago. I'm not an expert in the regulation, but it's certainly... If in a modern connected world, any company can get away with saying anything they like as long as they register their website offshore, that is not effective regulation. I can't imagine that's what the advertising standards are trying to, the message they're trying to send. So Laura put all this together and did a great amount of work putting it together. We sent it to a couple of journalists that we know. Justin Stallman, who is a friend of ours and has collaborated on us with many different stories. He got it in the Sunday Times. From there, it got picked up by quite a lot of different people. In fact, I was giving a talk in Maidstone yesterday, and all the way on the train down, I was having to deal with media requests from all around the world picking up on this story, which I thought was interesting in itself, because this story was in the Sunday Times, but it was also in the Daily Mail, the Huffington Post, the Independent, the Evening Standard, the Drum, CNBC, Grazia. I picked it up. Several other fashion magazines got in touch to pick it up. Fox News covered it in the US. There was quite a large pickup on this. Ironically, I would say a larger pickup on this than the BMJ investigation we did into cancer quackery. Whether that's because there is an attachment with a celebrity name and therefore an easy way of putting pictures on there, I don't know.
Also, I wonder if the tides are slowly starting to turn on Goop. I think people are realising that there's a lot more on there than they originally realised.
Yeah, I think that's probably true, and I'll come to that in just a moment, actually. So Laura, in her statement that she gave to the press, she sort of summed this up by saying, "It's shocking to see the sheer volume of unproven claims made by Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop about their products, especially given that some of their health advice is potentially dangerous. Nobody should be advising customers to avoid using conventional sun cream, or that pregnant women should take vitamin A, something that health experts have warned can be harmful to unborn children. Gwyneth Paltrow may well have good intentions, but she and her company sell products with claims that could clearly mislead customers. Just because Gwyneth Paltrow has an Academy Award, it doesn't mean that Goop should be given a free ride or an easy ride compared to the other big corporations. Being a celebrity doesn't exempt someone from abiding by the advertising law in the UK, and if Gwyneth Paltrow can't provide satisfactory evidence behind the claims she makes for products, she shouldn't be making those claims." So that's one piece of bad news for Goop, but as you say, I think the tide has been turning on Goop. And there was actually another story that I wanted to quickly touch on, which again takes a look at one of Goop's biggest claims, or one of the most prominent and well-known of their products. And it was actually published a couple of days before our story, ironically enough. So this is something that Dr. Jen Gunter was working on, unbeknownst to us at the same time as us, looking at Gwyneth. And this also made the Daily Mail. And the headline in the Daily Mail was, "No, Gwynny, vaginal Jade eggs were not used in ancient China. The anti-Goop doctor published a study disproving the claim that the $66 product is an age-old medicine. And in this, Jen Gunter actually published a paper which is published in a medical journal, where she looked through 5,000 jade objects in 4 major Chinese art and archaeological collections to look for any reference at all to anything that is an egg or an egg-shaped or anything that could back up the claim that Goop has made that jade eggs have been used by women across China for centuries for various health things. The claims that they made were to improve the pelvic floor, to balance hormones, to regulate menstrual cycle, and all these other things. This was the claim, in fact, that Goop got fined $145,000 for promoting with absolutely no evidence. So not only do these jade eggs not do what Goop says they do, but according to Jen Gunter's study, they weren't even ancient. They weren't even used. This isn't something that is a long-held thing.
Yeah.
So I think that was a really interesting thing to also see in the papers of late. As a study, we criticise a lot of studies, or certainly you guys criticise a lot of studies, and I think it's be hypocritical for us not to explore some of the weaknesses of this study.
Have you looked at a study?
Well, sort of.
You've not read the paper, have you?
No, I was on the train. And to be honest, it's not so much that. It's worth us kind of reflecting on the strengths and weaknesses of this, because this obviously isn't a perfect way of figuring stuff out. Looking through 5,000 objects in 4 Chinese art and archaeological collections, looking for eggs, of all these sort of jade objects. Obviously, just because you don't find the egg in one of those collections doesn't mean that there wasn't one. Evidence of absence isn't absence of evidence, so there's that. It's also worth pointing out that...
Does mean it probably wasn't passed down through the ages, though?
Well, it's hard because there's a couple of things. One being that art would have been dominated by men generally at that time. Certainly art that does get passed down from centuries ago. A lot of that art is dominated around a male eye and a male artist. And if this is something that is a female product that did have benefits for women, you wouldn't necessarily see it coming up in a male thing.
Sorry, the point I was specifically making was, if you can't find evidence generally that people talked about or wrote about or made art about jade eggs, where's it been passed down from? How has it gotten into common knowledge?
Yeah.
How's Gwyneth know about it?
Yeah. So yes,
it gives you more indication that it's not been passed down through the ages.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly indicative, and it's worth bearing that in mind. Even if this was, but it's worth bearing in mind that even if this was, if we're looking at art that did have a very female driver or a large feminine aspect in terms of the artists, if this was meant to be a secret tactic that was only shared between women, it wouldn't be depicted in art necessarily. Yeah,
so it doesn't. It definitely doesn't prove that it wasn't used.
Yeah.
It just lends weight to the argument that message hasn't been passed down.
Yeah, I agree. But I think one of the points that's interesting here is that would we be as positive about this study in terms of methodology if it was something that supported something we believed in? I think we probably would find holes in it. But I think that's still fine, because the strength of this is that if these jade eggs were a ancient thing, then while they may not be depicted in art, some of them would have been found because archaeologists have been around, so they would have appeared in the archaeological record if it was common or even relatively common. People might look at this and say, well, it doesn't matter whether it was used back then. The only thing that matters is the evidence, is whether it does the things that Goop says that it actually does. But I don't think that's necessarily true. I think this is still quite an interesting and important thing to illustrate in terms of studies, because you can present the evidence to people all day, but it doesn't mean they'll necessarily listen to just the evidence of it. So you could tell people that jade eggs don't regulate your menstrual cycle or help with pelvic floors or any of that kind of stuff, and people might just ignore the evidence on that. But you can take this message in a slightly different way, and I think it's interesting and important to do it in different ways. It's a bit like what we did with 1023. We didn't just show them evidence that homeopathy didn't work. We told them what homeopathy actually was and focused on a very easily digestible, understandable message. And if the message here is that jade eggs aren't an ancient form of wise health product, that's an important message to get across. Some people might look at this and say, well, yeah, but the people who buy the jade egg won't actually care when this study comes out, because they're already believers who believe that this jade egg is a thing and follow Goop's advice and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think that's necessarily true either, because not all buyers of fads are true believers. So I think people trust the idea that there is an ancient wisdom angle. And I think it's important for us to not just look at the evidence, but also to take out all of the pillars. So the message here isn't this doesn't work because Chinese people didn't use it for centuries. The message here is that this doesn't work and Chinese people didn't use it for centuries.
Yeah.
So everything that's said about this is fundamentally wrong. And for that, I think it's a very good study and a good piece of PR as much as anything else. It's negative PR for pseudoscience, and that's a good thing to be doing generally. It's not a perfect study, but it's still a very good demonstration to people as to why the reasons people believe in this stuff is not worth believing in. It's not valid.
Yeah.
So I think it's a solid piece of PR for skepticism, and a bad week for Goop.
I know for a lot of people, Instagram brings them some negativity because people only post the positive and the beautiful there, which can make for difficult life comparisons. But for me, Instagram is my happy place. I only follow accounts that bring me joy, and I love seeing pictures of people from all backgrounds with all body types enjoying their lives in different ways. Because I only follow accounts that bring me joy, I don't follow any of the many, many, many pseudoscientific accounts that exist on Instagram. There are an awful lot of them on there. Or at least not consciously, but regardless, a lot of woo still gets through to me. Social media is used as a marketing tool for companies in all sorts of industries. A social media influencer is now like a legitimate job title with the potential for earning some serious money. Even micro influencers with 100,000 Instagram followers can earn $5,000 for a sponsored post.
Micro influencers with
100,000
followers is a micro influencer. Yeah. The world we fucking live in.
I read, not to go too far off that, but I read a report recently called the Alternative Influence Network, which is about the way that figures in the alt-right use sort of network of YouTube videos and channels, and also into Instagram and things, and that there are people now on Instagram who will do all the lifestyle posting stuff, but they use it in order to spread anti-Semitism and white supremacy in all the sort of like, oh, look at this look at us, we're a happy smiley couple, here we are having dinner, talking about how we're going to kill all the Jews because the Jews are in control. Yeah. And very overt, very specific, specifically following the model of influencers and the way that people on Instagram gather following.
There's certainly an awful lot of bad that comes through social media, and Instagram is up there with one of the problems. Influencers with over 7 million followers.
Okay.
Which is not a non-zero number of people who have that many followers, can earn $187,000 for one single sponsored post.
Jesus.
So it makes sense that sponsored content is reaching our eyes more and more. As well as influencers posting adverts for money, Instagram itself facilitates sponsored content, which pushes content into the feeds of potential customers. Anyone with a business account can create promoted content. You pick a post, select your target audience, which can be curated based on audience behavior on and off Instagram and Facebook, including the apps that people use.
Wow. Is this people using Instagram to log into stuff then, or?
I don't think
Facebook, maybe?
I don't think you really log into many things with Instagram. You do log into things with Facebook, though, and Instagram and Facebook are owned by the same people. So maybe it's through the Facebook side. It's
cross-identification, maybe,
What Facebook are also able to do is, because people embed like buttons onto their pages, they can see any page that you visit.
Oh, everything's integrated,
a like button on it, and they'll be, all right, so you have visited that page, and we know who you are because you're still logged into Facebook in the same browser.
That works. If it was just how they spill that then into Instagram, but I guess if there's...
Instagram and Facebook are the same company.
They're owned by the same company, as is WhatsApp as well. Although they Facebook warrants that they do not use WhatsApp data for targeted advertising and things like that.
That's why it's easy to share Instagram posts on Facebook. It's quite hard to share Instagram posts on Twitter.
Yeah.
So you pick which post you want to promote, you select your target audience, you then select a daily budget and a time frame for the post to be promoted. £5 per day over 6 days, so £30 will reach approximately 2,500 to 6,500 people through their feeds or through their stories, which is a feature on Instagram, which is how I came across Vitality Extracts. Vitality Extracts have an Instagram following of 117,000. And I came across a video post of theirs that was boosted into my feed through a promoted content feature. The video was a close-up of a woman's hand resting on denim. She's wearing a silver ring on her middle finger that has a black stone in the middle, and she's rubbing a bottle with a rollerball onto the stone.
Okay, so she's rubbing stuff on a stone. Okay.
The caption says, "Want to smell fabulous all day without using toxic perfumes? Invigorate your senses with our lava stone diffuser jewelry. Choose your favorite oil, apply 1 to 2 drops, and go. With oils made purely from plants, you can feel confident that you aren't exposing your body and those around you to the harmful toxins contained in most perfumes and body sprays. Start diffusing on the go. They then talk about a sale that they've got on and then mention that it's 100% pure therapeutic grade essential oils.
I mean, I only want to use toxic perfumes, so they've lost me as a customer straight away. If it's a non-toxic perfume, I don't want to know.
I mean, to be fair, essential oils are not non-toxic. You don't want to drink a bottle of essential oils. It's not good for you.
That's true. If you want to have any non-toxic perfume, Mike, you can eat these Lifesaver musk rings. Oh, they're called Lifesavers because they look like rings.
Yeah.
I just got that.
Vitality Extracts website says Vitality Extracts was created by a group of health and wellness enthusiasts, not professionals.
Not professionals, not experts, yeah.
Who firmly believe in the natural healing of essential oils. Pure, safe and free of chemicals, we strive to provide affordable and quality products that fit the needs of many.
Free of chemicals, good.
Totally free of chemicals. We all believe that health comes first and want to inspire our customers to join us on the journey to better health. With each essential oil, you will have the luxury of choosing endless combinations and styles of diffuser jewellery to create the perfect pairing for your specific needs. So I had a look at some of their best sellers and their claims. The ring that featured in the promotion was a balanced diffuser ring. It's described as a hand-wrapped wire ring, which is a beautiful way to diffuse your favourite essential oils. It is strong and sturdy. It has a delicate look and feel. This ring can be worn casual or dressed as it is simple yet elegant. The ring includes a single lava bead, which gives a unique touch. But they do specifically say that the basalt and related rock types like andesite and dacite are rocks that form when volcanoes erupt magma onto the surface of the earth and the magma cools. Lava beads are porous and can absorb the oil of your choice. Which is probably true. Like you can see the pores on them. They're almost certainly porous. You can see the holes and the pores on the surface. The Instagram post very much focused on using essential oils on jewellery as a way to wear a scent. They weren't making any medical claims or any weird claims about properties of those oils. It was just, this is a way to smell nice, basically. But it seems likely that there's entirely different claims on the website itself. So they sell your standard essential oils, such as lavender oil, which they say reduces anxiety and emotional stress, heals burns and wounds, improves sleep.
Hang on. That's not a very good sentence to use from them. Because they say, what does it do? It heals burns and wounds. That sounds like it heals, it burns, and it wounds. Like, Jesus Christ, I mean, it heals you first, but then you can be burned and wounded.
It improves sleep, it restores skin complexion and reduces acne, it slows aging with powerful antioxidants.
Wow.
Fucking antioxidants and aging again.
The best thing you can do for anti-aging is to wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
It improves...
Or to hide in a medicine cabinet, in a medicine chest.
It improves eczema and psoriasis, and it alleviates headaches. I decided to have a little look at some of the claims because I think for a lot of essential oils, we know that most of it's bollocks, but there's a few like ones that we think probably, like tea tree is probably antibacterial. Lavender probably helps you sleep. Like we kind of accept those things as a given.
It's worth pointing out as well that the name essential oils means they are oils with the essence of.
Yes. Yeah. Correct. It's not that they are essential.
Whereas they're often interpreted as, it is an oil that is essential to you in some way.
If it was essential, we'd have recommended daily allowances of them. A summary of the literature on wound healing and lavender oil, published in 2011, summarised the evidence to support an accelerated healing response upon an area of skin trauma is negligible. In fact, the authors said many of the alleged activities of lavender oil remain unsubstantiated in scientific literature. The claims for lavender oil use in eczema, psoriasis, aging and complexion are all unsubstantiated, and any essential oil, including lavender oil, can lead to contact dermatitis when applied directly to the skin. So it can cause skin problems if you're putting it on eczema, psoriasis, or trying to use it to treat acne. There may be some weak evidence that lavender oil might help with anxiety. A systematic review of the effects of essential oils on anxiety in animal models, published in 2015, does suggest that animals might have some reduction in anxiety-like symptoms. See all the qualifiers I'm adding here? When exposed to some odorous molecules that are within lavender oils. But this hasn't been extended to humans yet, and it requires much further research. Meanwhile, we do have some medical interventions, not just medications, but other interventions that we think do help with anxiety. Although there still needs to be a lot more research done on managing anxiety. In addition to lavender oil, they sell a range of your other bog standard essential oils. There's peppermint, there's frankincense, there's eucalyptus, myrrh, tea tree, everything you need to welcome the birth of a new messiah and, and heal the wounds from delivering him.
And then burn him and wound him.
But Vitality extracts also sell what they call signature blends. There's one called Pain Away, which combines...
Wonder what that does.
black seed oil, wintergreen oil, frankincense oil, basil oil, and peppermint oil, which are apparently powerfully analgesic and designed to mitigate pain and discomfort.
They've got bay leaf in there as well, but it doesn't actually do anything. You just put it in and take it out.
You take it out just before you use it. Yeah.
There's a fur envy oil.
A fur envy oil?
Which is a carefully formulated mixture that safely gives your dog's coat the proper protection, shine, luster, and vibrance that he/she deserves.
Right, that makes way more sense. So I thought it was like, is it for furries? Is it for people who envy like animals for having fur? Does it make you furry? But no, okay, it's like a hair restorer.
Help prevent fleas and ticks naturally, soft and smooth. Fur envy is also what all of the neighbour dogs will have when they see your pup's new shiny coat.
Right, so other dogs will look at your dog and feel jealous. Right. That
contains almond oil, lavender, copaiba, Pamarosa, frankincense, lemon, and helichrysum.
Okay, Alice, if you were to coat your dog in almond, basil, lemon, and all the things, what would happen there?
He'd lick it all off.
Yeah, he'd lick it all off. That's
exactly the problem. It sounds delicious, and ingesting essential oils can be dangerous.
That's not so much an essential oil as a marinade at that point, isn't it?
But the problem is, they even suggest that you put it on your dog's paws. It's like, I know how much my dog licks his paws when he's not got anything on them. Like, he's going to lick it off. He's going to give himself bellyache. I'm going to have to clear up his vomit in the middle of the night.
It's all natural though, Alice. It's all made from plants. It'll be fine.
It's natural bellyache. It's natural vomit.
You can buy some Immunity from Vitality Extracts, which is Immunity essential oil blend is a powerful way to help support the proper function of your immune and respiratory systems. In addition, it can help purify the air and disinfect surfaces and provide a cleaner environment for you and your family. Except there's no evidence that cloves, cinnamon, lemon, eucalyptus, rosemary, or coconut oil in the blend can actually do this. They've not even put in like tea tree, which people do think is antibacterial. If you require some energy instead of taking in food or caffeine, you can buy the Align blend, which they claim will rejuvenate mentally and physically, improve circulation, calm the nerves, soothe muscle aches, and balance your chakras.
Just not pop that one in at the end there. Oh, by the way, chakras are a thing.
If you're finding this hard to believe, they've got an oil for that too. You can buy the Spirit blend if you're looking to enlighten the mind and body.
Okay.
So that's what you need.
And anti-skeptic oil, that's good.
Anti-skeptic oil.
Anti-skeptic cream, yeah.
Some of these oils are designed to be mixed with other oils and then worn on the skin or applied directly to the skin or hair. But some are designed to be diffused. Actually, my mum was big into aromatherapy when I was a kid, and she always used to do them for like ear infections. She'd put like oil and crap in our ears on cotton buds. But some are designed...
Did you get a lot of ear infections as a kid?
Kids get a lot of ear infections anyway.
Especially kids whose parents put oil and crap in their ears on cotton buds.
I think aromatherapy was really popular in the 90s, though. I know a lot of people who are my age whose parents had boxes of essential oils.
The smelly things, yeah.
My mum always had a thing, like she was like Albus oil for when you've got a cold.
Oh, yeah.
Lavender oil on the pillow if you need to sleep. So some of them are designed to be applied to the skin, but some are designed to be diffused. So the effect is solely related to the scent, which is where like aromatherapy comes from.
Yeah.
But Vitality extracts have you covered because they sell all manner of things you can use to diffuse them. They've got like these plug-in diffusers and things that you kind of see generally for scented things. But then they've also got these pieces of jewellery, including the ring with the lava rock stone. They have a sacred spiral ring, which seems identical to the other ring, apart from it's spiral-shaped and somehow sacred. And then there's a pyrite lava stone diffuser bracelet, which, as well as having the lava stone, also has a piece of pyrite, which is apparently is very protective and shields you from negative energy of all kinds. It'll protect you from emotional pollution and physical danger. Not sure how it does that.
Physical danger?
No.
The smell of it. Does it smell really bad?
No, it's a crystal.
Does it ward off bears?
Well, pyrite, I think, is fool's gold.
Oh,
Is it really?
Yeah,
I think
it
that's
is.
what pyrite is. Pyrite is fool's gold. So it protects you from danger by bribing the muggers by going, I'll give you this piece of gold. Honestly, it's gold. Honestly.
Yeah. I think it's a misprint and it's not pyrite, it's pirate. So they've got a pirate
They will
there.
protect you from physical danger, to be fair.
But, or subject you to physical danger.
Well, if it's your pirate, if you pay for it. You
You can't pay for a pirate.
Of course you can.
By definition, pirate. You can't buy a pirate. You're thinking of a mercenary. if there's a pirate you pay for and own, you're thinking either of a mercenary or a slave. Pirates are very much neither.
It also promotes good physical health and emotional well-being and attracts abundance, wealth and prosperity.
And bears.
And gives encouragement to follow one's dreams. It's basically the pushy parent of all ones. It's slightly metallic looking, and the product photos include someone wearing a bracelet and holding their palm up towards the sun like this. It's a really weird photo.
That's because they're both trying to charge their bracelet up and also shield their face from the sunlight because they aren't using sun cream.
They also sell a bracelet to help children focus because it's made of tiger's eye.
Is the bracelet, does it have glass in between the circular thing of the bracelet, and you don't wear it around your wrist, you hold it up to your eye, and is it actually just a monocle? Because that would help children focus.
It'll also help you acquire all that abundance that you're lacking, and attract prosperity and ground you spiritually. They have a snowflake obsidian diffuser bracelet for balancing your body, mind and spirit and keeping you centered and focused, and it'll also remove negativity from a space or person with ease. There's a rose quartz Buddha lava stone diffuser bracelet, which is made from rose quartz and lava stone, according to the materials description, but no Buddha, even though his face is right there.
So you think so they're not saying it's made from any Buddha? No Buddhas were harmed in the making of this bracelet?
But the Buddha's not made of rose quartz or lava stone. It's clearly made of cheap metal. Not mentioned that that's one of the materials. And most importantly, you can buy the 7 chakra agate bracelet.
Agate bracelet?
Agate's like a stone, a crystal type.
Oh, okay, right.
Glass, basically. The beads in the chakra bracelet can be made of many materials, but the colours are very important. Each of the chakras is represented by a colour: violet or white, indigo, light blues, greens or pinks, yellows or browns, orange and reds. So it's so important that there's an either or for quite a few of them. The only essential feature of a chakra bracelet is that its wearer understands its significance.
I would also say an essential feature of a chakra bracelet is that you can wear it around the wrist.
Why?
Because then it's not a bracelet.
Oh, yeah. Not every rainbow-coloured bracelet is a chakra bracelet, but all bracelets coloured this way can be worn as chakra bracelets.
True.
And thereby achieve the intended balancing and healing effects.
False.
So they have a list of the 7 chakras that they're representing. They've got the root chakra, also known as the base chakra, which we know where that one is because we've talked about it before with the obsidian crystal butt plug. The colour association is red. The location is the base of the spine. They've gone for the the more acceptable way of describing it. Rather than, how did that other company describe it? It was like between the perineum and the spine or something. It's like just.
You mean the bum?
Yeah. Just
right in the
tell it like
bubble.
it is.
That's what you're saying.
The associations are survival, standing up for yourself, financial independence and security. Imbalances are fatigue, low back pain, depression, cold hands and feet. I don't know what they mean. I don't know if your root chakra is imbalanced, you will have back pain, or your back pain will
unbalance your root chakra.
They just say imbalances and then list some things.
Are they saying that putting a crystal up your bum will make your hands cold? It sounds like that's what they were saying.
To heal it, you need exercise and restful sleep, red food and drink, red gemstones, which is handy because there's one of them on this bracelet.
Oh, that's handy, yeah.
And clothing, red essential oils, ylang ylang, or sandalwood, which is also handy because they sell both of those. Actually, I saw ylang ylang. I didn't necessarily see sandalwood, but they'll sell you the stuff to put on your chakra bracelet. The second one is the sacral chakra, also known as the spleen chakra, which is orange. It's in the lower abdomen, below the navel. Its associations are feelings.
Good, just all feelings.
Ability to be social, pleasure, sexuality, and well-being. The imbalances are alcohol and drug abuse. Again, cause or effect, no idea. Depression, allergies, yeast infections, urinary problems, sexual problems. And the healing is massage, orange food and drink, orange gemstones and clothing, and red essential oils. I presume there just aren't any orange essential oils because...
What about orange? Can you not make an essential oil from like a tangerine?
You can get like orange oil, but maybe it's not coloured orange. But I've never heard anybody reference like the colour of essential oils.
Yeah. I thought they're normally clear.
The smell. I think they'd usually have a bit of a yellow tinge because they're oils, but I don't know. In their description, they said that the myrrh was dark green.
As in like merman. By merman, I was thinking specifically merman from He-Man there as well.
The third one is the solar plexus chakra, which is yellow. It's in your upper abdomen or stomach area. The associations are personal power, self-confidence, self-control, humour and intellect. The imbalances are digestive problems, diabetes, constipation and memory loss.
It's weird that your sense of humour and intellect comes from the solar plexus. Are there no chakras a bit higher up than that?
Well, they've described the solar plexus as your upper abdomen and stomach area, but it's actually a bit higher than that. Your solar plexus is your breastbone, basically.
Yeah, but if they're saying upper abdomen, if they're saying this is the abdomen, then that's...
Yeah, they've described your solar plexus as much lower than it actually is.
They just described it badly, yeah.
The healing of the solar plexus chakra is learning, doing puzzles, detoxing.
Doing puzzles? So you can fix it with a Sudoku?
Well, that'll help you memory loss. So
that's true.
Detoxing, yellow food and drink, yellow gemstones and clothing, and yellow essential oils, brackets lemon. They sell lemon. The heart chakra is green.
Does it tell you where the heart is? Because it probably gets that wrong.
Centre of the chest above the heart.
Above the heart? The heart chakra is above the heart.
The associations are ability to love, joy and inner peace. Imbalances, heart and breathing issues, breast cancer, high blood pressure, muscle tension.
Just throw breast cancer out there.
Healing, family time, spending time with nature, green food and drink, green gemstones and clothing, green essential oils like pine or eucalyptus. There's the throat chakra, which is blue. Location, throat.
Nice. First one they got right, pretty much.
Association. The throat is quite big, though, and my understanding is, like, quite long. My understanding is that chakras are quite specific points, aren't they?
Yeah, but it depends how big a point. I mean, whenever you see a chakra map, the points are always pretty big on a person.
But they kind of radiate out as well.
Yeah, so it's like a good old circle there, like bang.
The associations are communication, relationships, trust and loyalty. The imbalances...
Wow, the throat chakra manages communication.
The imbalances are thyroid problems, hormonal issues, fever. Hormonal issues actually make sense because you've got thyroid, which is hormonal.
Yeah.
Fever, menopause, mood swings, healing, singing, conversations, collecting.
Collecting?
Just collecting.
What if you collect something awful? Like cancers?
Blue food and drink. Blue gemstones and clothing. You can probably collect some blue gemstones.
From them.
And blue essential oils like chamomile. There's the third eye chakra, also known as the brow chakra, which is indigo. It's located in the forehead between the eyes.
The pineal gland, they often call that, don't they?
Pineal gland's a real thing in your brain.
I've heard it reference something like that, some sort of third eye being a gland.
The associations are intuition, imagination, ability to make decisions, and psychic abilities. Good job, it's in your head. The imbalances are learning disabilities, sleeping disorders, imbalance.
Good. Do they mean literally that? Like you unable to remain upright or walk along a tightrope?
I don't know what they mean by that because they have two different definitions of the word imbalance.
If you damage your indigo chakra, then you're not able to walk the tightrope anymore.
The way you heal it is by watching the stars, meditating, indigo food and drink, indigo gemstones and clothing, indigo essential oils like patchouli. And then you've got your crown chakra, which is violet, and it's at the top of your head. Associations are ability to connect spiritually, knowingness, spirituality, and connection to God, because God comes in through the top.
Like a pepper pot.
Imbalances are headaches, mental illness, senility, lack of coordination, and rashes. Healing, focus on dreams, write down inventions.
Write down inventions. That's how you heal, is you write down an invention. That means you've got to have an invention. The only way to heal your crown chakra is to invent something.
Violet food and drink. So lots of Parma violets or musk lifesavers.
Yes, yeah.
Violet gemstones and clothing, violet essential oils like lavender.
What I quite like about those, the 7 chakras with the 7 colours there is there's clearly the 7 colours of the rainbow, which we know was fully invented by Sir Isaac Newton. Because he arbitrarily divided the spectrum up into 7 colours because he wanted it to match the 7 musical notes.
Well, it just so happens to be lucky that God also put 7 chakras in us and coloured them the same way that Isaac Newton was going to decide it to be.
Yeah. Are you saying Isaac Newton's God? I think that's what you're saying.
He was born December 25th.
He was.
So there we go. More evidence. It's piling up now.
I thought the 7 colours of the rainbow was invented by Richard of York.
I'm sure you've made that joke before.
I think last time I said Roy G. Biv.
Good, at least you remember which jokes you were using.
Well, I assume that's what I said, because this time my instinct was to go straight for Roy G. Biv, and I had to stretch past that to Richard of York.
At least Richard of York's an actual name. It seems to me that what vitality extracts are doing is taking something that was once fashionable, like aromatherapy, and combining it with something that is now fashionable. Crystals are frigging everywhere at the minute. They're all over Instagram. They're in the high street. They're in Accessorize. Accessorize sell jewelry with crystals in them, and then they have a little plaque next to it telling you what each crystal magically does for your body.
Mm-hmm. Even when, and I talked about this on the show at the time, when I went to the Blue Planet Aquarium in Ellesmere Port, in the gift shop there, they sell crystals with a little sign that says, and this is what it's like, you're a freaking aquarium, you're a science outreach thing. That's what you're meant to be doing this.
I think people do that in the same way that they have the nameplate things where it tells you what your name means. Where it's like, oh, you're a caring, compassionate person, and you used to get those. I think they just do crystals in the same way, basically. I don't think. I think the people who sell it
don't realise people
just
believe
assume,
it.
Yeah, exactly. Just assume it's a thing that people think, oh, yeah, it's fine.
But there are a lot of people who believe it. I have watched some very weird videos on YouTube of people showing off their crystal collections. Mm-hmm. And they'll have like this special one that they keep on their person all the time, and there's one that they keep by the door because it does something special. Like, it's bizarre.
Doorstop.
Because apparently adding more woo to your woo makes it instantly more sellable, and advertising on Instagram helps.
So, Liverpool Skeptics in the pub. Tonight we have a social event which is in Dr. Duncan's. That's from 8 o'clock. Dr. Duncan's on St John's Lane. If you're in the Liverpool area, you should come along to that. I'll be there.
I'll be in Barnsley, giving a talk in Barnsley to the Barnsley Skeptics, talking about the flat earth in Barnsley.
It's an absolute disgrace. Alice, you're going to be there?
I'll be there.
Fantastic. Alice has come all the way from Australia to come to the social, and Marsh has gone to Barnsley.
To avoid the social.
We're going to plan a party and Marsh isn't invited.
Oh, no.
We also have our next talk is in a couple of weeks' time. That's going to be Charlotte Hardman from the University of Liverpool. She's going to be coming down to talk to us. That is going to be in the Casa on Hope Street from 7:30.
That's correct.
We also have a new episode of Be Reasonable, Marsh. We
have. I'm interviewing Martin Liedtke, who I talked about, someone I saw at the Flat Earth convention.
Yes.
And it's a fairly wide-ranging interview. A bit about Flat Earth, a bit about some of the other things too. I hope people find it interesting.
It was a funny one because I listened to the first couple of minutes of that in time to just hear him going, and the things they teach in school today is like evolution and other insane theories, and I was like, whoa, I can't, I'm done. I'm already tuning out of this one.
Yeah, there's a bit of that going on, so yeah, it's worth checking out.
And of course, the first episode of Incredulous this year. has just been published as well, which is the live special from QED. That features yourself, Marsh.
Yes, I was on it.
It also features Tom Curry, Arian Shireen, and
Heath Enright.
Heath Enright from the Scathing Atheist.
Yeah, it was a fun show. It was a lot of fun.
It was a great show, fantastic show. So you'll find all of our podcasts up on it's still iTunes if you're on the desktop, but it's Apple Podcasts now. If you look at it on the on your
it's just where podcasts live,
or whatever. But
in all the places podcasts live,
whatever podcatcher you use, you should find us there.
That's not true.
Yeah, not the Google Play ones.
Google Play
or
Spotify.
Keep trying to get onto Google Play, and Google Play won't take us because we're a UK podcast. So we'll work on that one eventually. Aside from that, then that is all we have time for.
I think so.
All that remains is to thank Marsh for coming along today.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to Alice.
Thank you.
We have been Skeptics with a K, and we will see you next time.
Bye now.
Bye.
Skeptics with a K is a production of the Merseyside Skeptics Society. For more information, visit our website www.merseysideskeptics.org.uk or email podcast@merseysideskeptics.org.uk.
Some other Instagram ads that I've come across include Pranamat Eco, which is an acupressure mat that helps stress, fatigue, pain, flat feet, and oxygenation.
It helps flat feet.
It helps flat feet.
Good.
It's got these spikes on it, and they tell you to lie down on it for 15 to 20 minutes. And they've got all these photos of people who've had it on their back or on their front, and they're bright red, and they're like, it's going to be hot and inflamed afterwards, so put like some massage oil on afterwards.
But also, so you lie down on the mat,
yeah,
and that's how it helps your flat feet.
Well, I think you can stand on it.
Oh, right, I was going to say.
It helps your flat feet by stabbing you in the flat feet.
Yes. Maybe it just like makes you bring your arches up.
Bring your arches up.
Because it hurts.
It's just, like your body's going to go, ooh, that's, ooh. This is a Lamarckian solution to flat feet. Oh, no, ooh.
There's Placenta Plus, who will take your placenta, encapsulate it, and sell it back to you in pill form or as a cream.
Good.
Wow.
Right.
And then there's cryotherapy, which is a treatment where you make yourself really, really cold, and it might cure cancer.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of that.
Probably not. And those are the ones that I didn't actively search for. Those are the ones that came into my newsfeed unprompted, and I never hit the like key when they come up. I always save them separately, assuming that doesn't feed into the algorithm, and then I won't get more woo coming through, because I don't want to see woo on my Instagram. Yeah. It's my little happy place. So those are the ones that have just come through. Like, there's a ton of bullshit on Instagram. So much bullshit on Instagram.